How can you keep from getting bitten by ticks? And what do you do if you actually get bitten? This is so important. And I think of all my friends back in the Southeast, and I'm like, oh gosh, I remember every time I would go in the woods, I felt like I would end up with a tick or something hanging on to me. And it's important that you prevent this. And I understand this now even better because I see a lot of people who've been made sick by tick bites, and it is no fun. In fact, Lyme disease is another one of those great pretenders because it can look like so many different issues. People can have long term symptoms after a tick bite. And it's not just Lyme disease that people can get from tick bites, they also can get babesia and other tick-borne illnesses. So you really want to avoid this if at all possible. All right, some of the basic ideas, you already know, and that is um, when you get back from a hike, we want to, as soon as possible, look ourselves over. So that probably means showering and having a tick check within an hour after the hike. You just don't want somebody to attach to you and stay there. Okay. You really want to identify if you see a tick. The next thing is in prepping for your hike or your trip, it's preferable to have the repellent on your clothing if at all possible, right? So wearing clothing that has repellent on it, you can get some clothing that sort of already has repellent in it. When we look at Consumer Reports review of all the different repellents back in 2015, I think this was great to know that more natural products are probably better for keeping off mosquitoes and ticks. And what they found was 20% picaridin and also 30% lemon eucalyptus actually perform better than DEET. And when they looked at DEET, which DEET, guys, is kind of toxic. Okay, so I would not personally put DEET on me. So because DEET's toxic. More than 15% didn't do any better, and more than 30 is dangerous, right? So when you see those products that have like super high amounts of DEET, that is not what you want. So if you're going to do DEET, 15% worked better than the higher concentrations. But honestly, using something with the 20% picaridin, this is how it's spelled, picaridin, or 30% eucalyptus, that's the way to go. So now we've got our clothes set, right? Wearing a hat, right? Because that'll help. They tend to drop down from from the trees. And when you're walking, walk in the middle of the trail, right? They're hanging out there waiting to jump on in the bushes, right? So you walk in the middle of the trail, and understand if you're in a hot spot, this is even more important, right? If you live in Lyme, Connecticut, so important. So you're going to also want to check your animals because if your dog's out there, dogs can also carry ticks that will transmit Lyme disease. So make sure that you take the ticks off your animals and check them after a hike. So the biggest key to not getting Lyme disease is avoiding ticks, right? But we don't want people to stay out of the woods entirely, but being careful can make it a lot easier. Now, what do you do if you find a tick, right? Okay. It's important that you remove it in the right way. So you're going to get some nice little tweezers, right? You're going to grasp it as close to the surface as you can. You don't want to squish it, okay? So avoid squishing it or crushing it, but you want to use firm, gentle pressure, kind of pull it backwards. You're not going to twist it off, just firm, gentle pressure. Hopefully, it's going to let go. The reason that you don't want to squish it is because the tick probably has a bunch of infection causing stuff in it. Okay, so you don't want to squish it. Once you pull the tick out, wash it really well with soap and water. And if it looks like something's stuck in there, just leave it alone. Your body's going to spit it out after a little while. And then what you want to do, take that tick, submerge it in some rubbing alcohol, and then put it in a sealed bag. Okay, if you put the tick in alcohol, what it does is it preserves the tick for identification later. Okay. And it kills the tick, right? Oh, well, so hopefully you're not going to have this happening. And if you do have a tick bite, you some people might recommend prophylactic treatment because it can be so serious to get Lyme disease. I think the big thing is to get the tick off as quickly as possible and understand that using those natural products, the picaridin and that 30% lemon eucalyptus can really be helpful. And I hope everybody continues to go out in the woods. Yay for the woods. All right, you guys. I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope you have an awesome day.